Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Binding of Isaac Repentance, where today we are going to do the Baptism by Fire challenge. We're playing once again as Bethany, and we start off with the Flamethrower, a couple of Soul Hearts, and a Blindfold. Also, we have Guppy's Paw at our disposal if we were to need extra charges. And at the sacrifice of health, we have a decent trinket, which might give us some health if we don't take damage. Which will be explained sooner. And when you destroy enemies, you get some more charges, so we no longer need to use soul hearts. So if you hold the attack long enough to fire one burst of flames, you can usually shoot enough fire that you can at least destroy an enemy with it, at least in the earlier parts of the game. The further you get along, the more you want to depend on things like some sort of devil deal item that allows you to deal damage or something like that. But for now, we're just going to try our best to destroy enemies as much as possible while using as little flames as possible. Which, it requires a little bit of practice, but overall it's not too impossible, fortunately. The Rotten Heart that we got earlier might actually help us get devil deals and things, as it does count for a little bit of protection. It also allows us to get some flies. There we go. Figured out the word there. And those can be fairly useful as well. I don't think this actually does anything for the flamethrower, so we're just going to leave that alone. And I kind of wouldn't have minded being able to go into my curse room there without losing that Rotten Heart, but I think I'm just going to leave it alone. That's a little annoying because that does give him more health, but they do usually still die fairly quickly. You can see how many charges you have left in the top left as well. So right now we have 18 flame charges available, and every time we kill someone with the flames, then we do get some back, so that is quite nice. And don't have bombs, don't have any way to get bombs, so we're just going to ignore the secret room and anything from now. Duke of Flies is probably one of the best early game bosses you can get, just because you can get your charges back by destroying the flies that he spawns, so that's nice. We get some extra health here, so we have a little bit more to work with, and if we really need those extra charges from Guppy's Paw, we can use one of our heart containers to get that, but obviously that's not preferable to just having health, really. So our trinket gives us an eternal heart at the start of every floor, and that should allow us to get a little bit more health and heart containers, and also a little bit more safety to get devil deals. At the risk of losing the Eternal Heart, of course, but it does count as a little bit of extra protection. And as such, it can be quite useful. So hopefully we can get some use out of that. If you're lucky, enemies just spawn next to each other, or maybe the flies from our Rotten Heart may do some damage as well. For the most part, this is very much a challenge where if you can avoid damage at all costs, you probably want to do that, because you really don't have much to work with here. It's a pretty tricky one if you end up making mistakes, unfortunately, but if you do get used to how the flamethrower works, you can end up doing just so much damage for so little of the charges that you can at least get pretty far. It's still not guaranteed that you're actually going to make it to the end at that point, but you can at least get reasonably far into the challenge, which hopefully might be enough. Bombs are obviously rather useful as well, just because they allow you to kill certain enemies from a distance, or just deal some extra damage every now and then without having to expend flame charges. Could have probably just placed a bomb here to kill those two enemies and retained as many charges as possible, but I'm not going to worry about it too much. And a little tempted by that red chest, actually, but I think I might just leave it alone for now. Curious if the curse room might actually have a secret room next to it, and it does. Very nice. That is effectively nothing. I'm not exactly sure how damage works with the flamethrower, if I'm honest. So the speed up might actually be worthwhile to get here, but I'm just going to leave it alone. Hanged Man and Wheel of Fortune. I actually wouldn't mind Hanged Man, thinking about it. Just because that way I can get those chests. I'm a little tempted by this. But I'm not sure if I want to risk taking the damage. I'd rather just go for these chests over here with the Hanged Man, which unfortunately wasn't as worthwhile as I'd hoped. Don't really want to risk this being a bad trip, unfortunately, either, because I really want to maximize on health during this challenge, so I'm just going to leave that alone. And hopefully there's a super secret room over here, and indeed there is. 3 soul hearts, so that's just a whole bunch of extra charges for our flamethrower there, in case we start to run out, so that's quite lovely. And yeah, that's about it. Let's just go fight the second boss, Baby Plum. We could just not deal any damage, but I kind of want to just keep the items that we currently have, so I will just use a bunch of charges instead. Got another health up, which is obviously wonderful. Now we'll go for the Devil Deal in case we just manage to get an item that actually can deal damage for free. I'm a little curious about Jello because I'm not sure if Jello works with the blindfold actually. And also with the Ocular Rift, I'm not sure if that even has any effect. So I'm gonna try to get Jello, I think. Am I? Let's see if it works. I'm just a little curious. Oh, don't do that. Let go of that. Alright, so that's obviously pretty great, because this means that we at least have some way to shoot tears if needed. It is gonna use our active item, of course, but I'd argue that that's probably worthwhile. It does mean we're gonna leave Guppy's Paw alone, unfortunately, but that'll just have to be that. It is at least another way to deal damage, and hopefully that'll be enough. Provided that we don't actually need Guppy's Paw anymore because we now no longer exclusively need to use the flamethrower, that could just be enough to save the day. So that is looking pretty alright. Kinda hoping we can get some of these rocks destroyed by this enemy here. Wouldn't mind it if you manage to shoot like a ball right here so we can get that card for free. I'm really not wanting to expend any resources that I don't need to, but it does appear that this enemy has gone to the other side of the room and then just left. So we're just gonna have to deal with that. Ace of Diamonds. Obviously anything that can clear out a room for free is pretty good. Plus money is not exactly something we have. We don't get charges for a flamethrower with the Ace of Diamond card, unfortunately, but it did give us some coins, so I can appreciate that at least. These enemies as well. One flame charge can be enough. That time apparently it wasn't, but fair enough. I'm really just looking for enemies that are kind of close to each other. Not sure if there's... Wasn't sure if there was going to be like little pins or something in this room, but unfortunately not. Really trying to retain as many charges as possible. Stuff like this, you can usually get some of them in the same wave, like right there. Two for the price of one is always a good deal. But if you can just destroy one as well, then at least you retain your charge at the end of the day, so it can end up being worthwhile. Moving on, let's just go down here to explore as much of this floor as possible. I could probably destroy those flies as well for probably less charges than I would lose on it, but nah, that's fine. Surprised that there's not a secret room there, but fair enough, I suppose. Skeletons can be a little annoying. Most tiers do get destroyed by the flames, but skeletons have a way to just shoot past those for some reason, because they're jerks. And let's just deal with that. This is a little worrying. But again, the main difficulty is honestly just holding the attack long enough for the fire to actually come out, because the timing on it is a little bit awkward for sure. And if you have zero practice with this item, then it can get a little off-putting, but hopefully we're doing okay here so far. I'm guessing this works? It doesn't. Huh, that's unfortunate. Does it really not work? Oh. I guess I'll blow him up, because I wouldn't mind the extra Devil Deal chance. And there's a secret room there, apparently, so that worked out. I think you can get charges from shopkeepers as well, but I'm not 100% sure about that. Mostly I just want to have Devil Deals for followers. Maybe if we can get Maw of the Void or something like that, then that's just really good, because even though it does charge fairly slowly, it is a pretty much guaranteed way to just clear out a bunch of enemies, so obviously that's rather nice. Some more bombs here as well, so that's lovely. Rooms like this aren't super fun, because it can get rather dicey at times. And then I shot the statue a bunch instead of the actual enemy, which doesn't help. And my charges are getting a little low here. Hoping I can kill that one from a distance, and the enemies are still shooting after the room is done, which is not great either. So with 6 charges remaining, things are looking a little dicey, but not impossible to manage for sure. And the bosses also have a tendency to just give a bunch of charges as well, so that's pretty good. Unfortunately, didn't get a Devil Deal there, but that's fair enough. I think I'm going to leave Perfection alone, just because I do like having our health increase as much as it currently is, so we're just going to leave that. kind of nice that we're actually getting perfection, but I do feel that this item is just incredibly powerful, and it does make getting 0 damage a little bit easier than it ordinarily would be. Rooms like this can be dicey. It is kind of worthwhile to not destroy that one in the middle just because you can get some enemies to spawn, and as such you can get some easy extra charges that way, but I don't like the other enemies in that room, so I'd rather not risk it. Oh god. Oh boy. Getting a little close for comfort here, but fair enough. I'm actually just gonna use, have to put this away first and then switch to this. I'm actually just gonna use this to kill some of these enemies, I think, because it does... I should probably be using this more often while my charges are a bit low. I don't think it's guaranteed that you get a charge if you don't kill enemies with the flames, but I'm not 100% sure how it works, if I'm being honest. Wouldn't have minded the hangman card for that room there actually either, but yeah, fair enough. Trying to just get enemies close to each other right now. There we go. Again, 2 for 1 is always a good deal, and we're gonna try for that as much as possible. The fact that you don't get item rooms either is pretty rough, because there's probably a certain item room items would just be so good. Anything that gives defense obviously would be really nice. Anything that would give you some extra health to work with would save the day quite easily as well. Also, rooms like this can be just horrible because you have to get pretty close to the edge there if you don't have a way to properly attack these enemies. I think if you wait long enough, the door will just open again because it's a room where you're not guaranteed to be able to get out, and there's just like that soft lock prevention that'll kick in after a while. But fortunately we did manage to get Jello here, so we can just clear the room out and get some extra charges for a flamethrower as well, so yeah, it's working out. Probably should have waited there at least a little bit, but that's fine. These enemies do die very quickly when you attack them when they're up after all, so might as well wait a little bit from time to time. Didn't really need to shoot another time there, but we are slowly but surely regaining more charges than we're losing, so it's going in the right direction for sure. Trying to kill those spiders with the flies, and that worked out. Don't love the way that the spiders are right now. They're all the way off screen, and they might just jump on the screen suddenly, which is what happened there. And that can cause some trouble. And I don't really have room to take damage, unfortunately, because of our Rotten Heart being a pretty important part of the damage we're dealing right now. But also because I don't want to lose that Eternal Heart either. There's a lot of defense that we're losing at the moment we take any damage. So it does get rather scary at times. And look, there you go. That is both the Rotten Heart and the Eternal Heart gone in a singular shot there. So it's not great. Obviously, we only ended up taking half a heart of damage even with a Rotten Heart, because that's just how the Eternal Heart works. But it's not ideal. At least we got 50% off, so that might be useful for any future shops, but also any damage we take now is going to make our Devil Deal chances go down significantly, which is not what you want to have happen. So just going to play this a little bit safer than usual here, hopefully. Would like to get that Devil Deal after all. Big room with a bunch of enemies here, but hopefully we can get them pretty close to one another. Probably expended a little bit more charges there than I really had to. Don't do that. God, switching items around just to actually shoot the way I'm intending to is a little bit more trouble than I'd originally anticipated, but things are working out so far. Hopefully we can get something from the arcade, maybe a grab machine. No. This is kind of tempting to play with, just because you can get some decent stuff out of it. At least some extra charges as well for from black hearts and such. And since there is a red heart on the floor, I might actually go for that. Depending if our super secret room is, well, findable for one, but also if it is one with a lot of red hearts, I might actually spend some time on that. But we'll see about that, I suppose. We got a lot of extra charges there. I think champions actually do end up giving you more charges as well, which is rather nice. And the boss today is Blighted Ovum and Pin, which is a combination for sure, but, well, that went about as expected, where the Brimstone just kills Pin instantly. But we did get another Devil Deal, so that's great. Let's see what we got. It is 7 seals is pretty great because it is just some extra damage. Ceremonial robes, I'm not sure if it actually affects us in any positive way. But 7 seals is pretty wonderful because it allows us to do just extra damage. It's just going to do some extra work on its own. Occasionally war is going to kill an enemy, and any way we can deal extra damage that way is just wonderful, really. Bombs, pills, and soul hearts. Not bad. Just keeping away from all the pills for now, even though it's definitely not something I would usually do. This, in particularly difficult challenges, I'd rather not take the risk at the end of the day. And I do feel like this counts as a kind of particularly difficult challenge. There's certainly a lot of challenging aspects to it that I would rather not wish to deal with again. So we're just playing it safe. We'll play this thing exactly twice. A sun card would obviously be amazing. Strength and lovers. Well, with lovers, I might as well just play it a little bit more. Because why not? Could use the extra keys as well. It's being very kind in terms of our winnings at least as well, so that's looking pretty good. Let's get rid of that. And 2 more times for that last heart in the distance over there. Strength could be useful just because you do get that extra heart container at the end of the day. And hopefully we also deal some extra damage with it as well. I'm gonna play it one more time just for the hell of it. There we go. Unfortunately didn't work out. I'm just gonna leave that alone for now because I don't know. I feel like we got what we intended to get there. We have decent amount of charges. We have our item is fully charged as well. We got 7 seals, so that should hopefully work out a little bit. And we can get an extra heart container with strength there, so that could be useful probably during the Isaac fight or something like that, unless we get a particularly powerful card somewhere else along the way. Really, the sun card would be just the best thing you can get pretty much, just because that is so much healing you get from that. And that would be wonderful. Mini bosses can kind of suck because, again, we don't have that much room to use our charges, but with 7 seals here, it should certainly be a lot less of an issue when we're dealing with the regular rooms. So hopefully those things are kind of going to balance each other out here and there. Always watch out for Brimstone. We can probably just let him do all the work there, and indeed. I don't think I even looked for my super secret room on the previous floor, I just realized, but that's fair enough. These enemies are quite annoying just because they're so tanky, but you might be able to lure some of them into the poison there as well and end up not worrying too much about life. There we go. I might actually just let 7 seals do the work here as well, which is not ideal. But I don't want to... I don't want to bother with poops right now unless I really have to. I could probably just bomb them as well, but I don't really want to do that either. This isn't too bad, but it sure is a little annoying. 5 more coins. There could be a secret room over here, and I will actually just check. And that is a large quantity of money. So far, things are looking alright. We do have that protection from the Eternal Heart to not lose our secret room as well, so that's... or our Devil Deal, rather. I was kind of hoping that he would spawn a fly, but unfortunately it was not to be. These enemies are also just a little bit annoying for their regular reasons, but also that they pretty much require the full charge to actually destroy. But we're slowly but surely making our way through. Stopwatch, I'm never going to say no to pretty much. Membership card, might as well try. Soul of Lilith, I mean, familiars are quite good, and for 3 coins I can't exactly say no to that. Little Abaddon as well. We could get some extra flies with this Rotten Heart, and it doesn't really hurt to do. And the Bone Heart can probably manage some protection as well. So all in all, that was pretty good. That was about as good as you're gonna get from a singular shop, and a Judgment card to get all that Devil Deal chance right there. So pretty nice. I'll just buy the bomb as well. Getting a little bit low on money, but that's fine. We do have Little Abaddon now. So what we could do is just charge that up and try to destroy some enemies with that as well. It's not the most powerful weapon in the game, but it'll kill an enemy. It'll kill an enemy, and that's free charges right there. We actually have a way of properly attacking things now, so honestly, that's looking really nice. Also, I'm getting the strong sensation that my super secret room is probably over here, given how close it is to the shop, but it is not. Unfortunate. Then it could be in many places, and I don't think I want to bother with my 3 remaining bombs, so I'm just going to leave all that alone. The war flies taking care of all of the dangerous enemies here, so that's wonderful. But look at that, we're getting so many extra charges because of that Soul of Lilith that we managed to find, so very nice, very good. Onwards to the boss, which is again a double trouble, Gurglings and the other one. I mean, the Gurglings aren't that big of a deal because they do tend to just kind of die here. They are quite dramatically slowed down by something here, some sludge going around the room. And I'm definitely a lot less hesitant to use my flamethrower just a lot right now, just because we have that little Abaddon. Placenta is also potentially really good. It depends on how far you want to go with this. Because with Placenta, you could technically wait until you're fully healed up before going into a room. It can heal you every minute. Like, I think every minute has a chance to heal like a half a heart or something like that. And it's pretty painful to wait for, but it's not impossible to work around. I don't love this. If it was just Maw of the Void, I'd probably take it, but having to take damage for that, I don't think that's really worthwhile. So I'm actually just going to go to the next floor and hope we can get some good stuff there. But I think with the build that we have right now, we actually have effectively everything we need to win. So that's looking pretty good. This is a bit of a rough room because of all the jumping enemies, but they were playing nice. And a lot of these enemies, not liking that because they are quite tedious. They shoot a lot of tears. Come on. There you go. Look at how slow those things are going now that we have Stopwatch as well. It's quite fun to see. Stopwatch also is just so nice. It's such a good layer of extra protection. Unfortunately lost our Eternal Heart, but honestly I'm not really that concerned about that anymore. Especially with that Bone Heart adding extra protection as well. That is just such a nice thing to get during something like this. So I think we're probably going to be okay here. These enemies also just grind so many more charges than you could possibly expend on them, so you might as well just go all out on them. That room requires bombs to bomb your way through. I'm going to see if I need to clear that room before actually doing it, because I do kind of like having bombs. Especially in the late game, it is nice to have bombs to just bomb your way through certain rooms of the cathedral. And also of the womb, because there are certain rooms that are just very irritating to deal with. Especially if there's just like those laser eyes somewhere on a platform you can't quite reach or something like that. There's a couple of rooms like that which aren't great to get during this challenge, so I'm hoping we're going to be fairly lucky during that, but if not, then I think we do still have a build that can sort of reliably deal with it, especially with the range that we can get from our Jello active item as well. So I think we're probably fine in that regard as well, but it is a worry. It is a worry for sure. But I am definitely expending a lot more charges than I ordinarily would be at this point, just because I'm no longer as concerned. So that is, it's looking good. It's looking good. Alright, so Hairpin's alright. Soul of Isaac is obviously pretty damn great. So I'm just going to buy that. And then I kind of want to use it here. Because I don't really want to have this for the mom fight. I would like to keep that strength card. Let's actually... Red Candle, that's... Oof. That's a tough one to say no to for sure. Even with the things that we have right now. Like, Red Candle is just such good guaranteed damage, but I'm not sure if I'm gonna bother. I might bother. I don't know. That does seem like hard to say no to. Accidentally walked into the spiky rocks there, as one should. I don't think I'm going to bother. I think I'm just going to go for it. I don't know if I'm going to regret doing that later on, but we'll see about that, I suppose. This boss spawns so many enemies that as long as you can avoid stuff, you're probably going to be okay. And it also just takes a lot of damage from the flames anyway, so it's fine. No Devil Deal. 16 charges once again upon leaving, so honestly, things are going pretty good. Something like the shovel would actually be really nice to get right about now as well, but... only specifically for the next floor, I suppose. An Awaz rune would be really nice to find, because we could just skip this floor and go on to the next one. But we'll see what we can get. It's at least not a scarred wound, so that's at least something. Those enemies are usually fairly tedious, but there was nothing else in the room, so that helped out. Hoping we can get some of these flies to deal with these enemies, because this is also just a room that I don't like dealing with in any run. But fortunately, War is at least hanging out over there, trying to deal with some of these enemies. There we go. No fears, no worries. Only good times here. And the enemies are dying fairly quickly right now. And I can just wait it out, which is nice. Like, these flies will eventually just destroy an enemy. Plus, I could just do this, I suppose. I should actually be doing that a lot more often because I feel like I'm not using that to its max potential at all. Not even close. Also, at the end of the day, we still have 15 soul hearts, so that's 15 extra, well, charges, I guess, from the flamethrower. So we really don't have much to worry about right now. Rooms like this always scare me a bit because there could very easily be eyes on both sides, I feel, but fortunately we're not. Might as well take this. There is a red heart there, so if we take damage to our bone heart, then that's still healable at least, so that's nice. And this room is no worries at all with those war flies either. Another red heart waiting for us there. This is the kind of room I was talking about, where I technically have the range. The flames would reach if I shot in that direction right there. If I'm walking forward, I think, as well. Like, it doesn't seem like, but I'm pretty sure that would actually hit. But it's just, it's a nightmare. It's a complete nightmare to deal with. Unfortunately, that just went really well. Daddy Longlegs. I mean, he'll probably die fairly quickly, provided he kind of works with me here. Ay. Unfortunately, lost the Eternal Heart at the very end there. Didn't lose Devil Deal chance, but I did not get a Devil Deal either. Not sure why I didn't pick up the red heart, but I think at this point I'm just kind of trying to rush through it as we are kind of nearing the final stretch here. We'll mostly be going for big rooms since it is more likely that they will probably lead to the right direction at the end of the day. There we go. Really haven't used Jello at all. Also didn't really have a use for Guppy's Paw at the end of the day, but definitely expected to get more use out of Jello just because it gives you so much more room to work with, really. But I feel like because we got so many other good items for this particular challenge that it didn't really end up mattering that much. Same with Little Abaddon, I guess. There's so many extra things I could be doing to really maximize the amount of charges that we have, but I'm just kind of winging it. And things are working out in a way that I can appreciate, so it's all fair enough. That's another rotten heart. A little tempted. Yeah, might as well, actually, especially with that Eternal Heart there. I'm pretty sure I'm still going to lose the Eternal Heart if I take damage, even though it is currently on a different heart container, but we'll see about that, I suppose. Still trying to minimize the amount of flames I'm actually shooting, but after a while you just kind of let go and just fire wildly. But it is definitely a challenge where, especially early on, if you're not too familiar with how the item works, it's very easy to just run out of charges and have no way of attacking anymore, and that's just very disheartening when that happens. But with a little bit of practice, I think you'll probably manage. Alright, Womb 2. It's just, fortunately, one of the eyes got destroyed by the horse there. The other one died fairly easily as well, and now I'm just gonna shoot a whole bunch of flames here, I think. Hopefully Little Abaddon can hit here, but if not, that's fine. Got a lot of our charges back after destroying the boss. We could do Hush, but I don't think I'd be happy, which is an important factor in that decision at the end of the day. So I think I'm just going to leave that idea alone. Not sure if this even does anything, but that's fine. Let us grab anything and just go up. That's another red heart container that we have available there. Our charges are pretty low, so I might actually finally start using Jello and the Little Abaddon there, but it doesn't really matter to me. Like a couple ghosts like this is Abaddon food, if you ask me, because he is just very capable of killing enemies that chase you around, and that's exactly what those enemy types do. So that ended up working out fairly well. Probably didn't need to use Jello there, but ultimately fine. These enemies as well, since they move in such particular patterns, it's a little bit easier to just get them in that circle. The socks will also just follow you around if you let them, so a lot of ways you can get enemies trapped in that circle of death. And now we have 18 charges. Each room with no followers, with follower, chance to duplicate that follower. I mean, we're on the last floor, so it's probably better than not having this. It's an alright trinket in most situations, and this situation is no exception to that, since I'm not sure if it would duplicate the horse, but if it duplicates Little Abaddon, I'd be pretty happy with that. Only has a chance to happen, of course, but still, it's a chance of something nice, and I can appreciate that. Hopefully we'll notice it. High Priestess, I can use that to clear a room. Look at that. Cleared a room. It's a good card. On occasion. This shouldn't be too worrying. And indeed we have 2 horsemen right now that are just spawning a whole bunch of flies. So I think that this trinket might end up being pretty okay. If we get something like that during the Isaac fight, that would be wonderful. These enemies still a pain in the butt when you have no real way to deal with them. We have 2 little Abaddons though. Yeah, this trinket is pretty cool. I should actually... I haven't seen it before, I don't think, actually. I don't know what I was going to say, but I should, actually. But I think this is genuinely the first time I've ever had it in a run. So I'm pretty happy about it. That'll be an extra soul heart, please. Just run towards me, or die. Whatever works. And we are just about going in the right direction, I would say, judging from this floor. I mean, this could still be a dead end. Yeah, okay. Well, we're running out of rooms, at least, on this floor, and that's a positive way of looking at it at the end of the day. Eventually, we'll go in the right direction. We have 25 soul heart charges, so we're definitely not going to run out of flames during this final boss here. Greed is a little annoying, and I'm actually willing to just bomb through this because I don't want to deal with it. This is a room where if you go quick enough, nothing happens. And this is a room where I have mentioned in the past that you would need bombs for this or wait for the ghost to work with you. But again, little Abaddon actually doing a lot of work for me today, and I can appreciate that. And a little bit of flames to help out on the side as well. But so far, yeah, this build is very, very manageable for this particular challenge, and I can appreciate that because, again, it's really just a matter of managing your flames if you really want to only use the flames. And I think for the most part, you can pretty much do that if you're familiar with how the item works. And if you're not familiar with it, like I was on my first time doing this challenge, you'll run out of flames around the 4th room of the basement, and then you'll wonder what you were supposed to do. But fortunately, with a little bit of practice, everything's alright. I wouldn't have minded if we could skip this room in particular either, but yeah, what can you do? Don't like dealing with the haunt in a situation like this, but we do have several horses. I could just throw a bomb, actually. Oh, or we could just get the Warfly to move that bomb out of the way. Thank you very much. Alright. 1 boss remains. I'm just going to use that strength card immediately. We won't attack until we attack him, but unfortunately a Warfly decided to go for it, so fair enough. At this point I can pretty much just tank it because the flames do get rid of tears as well. So I might as well just hang out over here, and we have 25 soul hearts right now, so I mean it's not like we're ever gonna run out of flames here, so we are good to go until the very end. And that is that. It is it's a fun one, but can definitely be a tricky challenge. We unlock Purgatory, which is an okay item on its own. With spin down dice you can get an item called Dogma with it, which you usually only get during the beast fight, and that can be kind of fun. But that is another challenge completed, and we are closing in on the... Well, I was going to say we're closing in on unlocking all the challenges that are added by Repentance, but there is a couple of them here which are quite tricky, specifically 42 right there, but we'll get to that when we get to that. Either way, hope y'all enjoyed it. Next time we play, we'll do another run as a different character, and I hope to see y'all there. Bye-bye.